Welcome to Real Estate Conversation. Here are my guests, Joe Kawanakaran, Gordon Valentino, both veterans in the industry. Joe, you've been in the industry for?
Around 12 years now.
And Gord?
27.
Both doing well. What we're here to talk about today is the industry. Why would someone want to join the real estate industry? What are the perks? What are the downsides of the industry? And what can be the reward if someone does well? It is a very important part of the Maltese economy. What we are seeing are many agencies coming up and not setting up proper training structures, and they are somehow blemishing the name of companies and the industry in general. What can we do? Is there an opportunity for real estate companies due to this negative perception? Is there an opportunity that we are missing?
Yes, of course, there is a big opportunity that we are missing. What's happening is way back when agents were created in Malta, when they opened shop, there wasn't any training. So what's happening today is that big companies are setting up their own academies, their own training departments. Agents joining today have a big advantage because they are not thrown on a desk and they start working like that. So the customer enjoys a better opportunity and a better journey towards the purchase because the agent is being professionally trained, and after weeks of training he is then released to the manager who's taking care of him, making sure that the agent is prepared to finally go and meet his first customer, and he's guided and mentored through this journey. Unfortunately, where the negativity comes in is when you have an agent joining someone who's not training him, who's not guiding him, he's throwing him on a desk like we used to do ages ago, and he's not having the guidance. So unfortunately, this agent, this new recruit, is not being trained, and as a result of that, you can have situations where the buyer or the owner are facing these negative tracks.
More often than not, we've seen people who tend to complain with regards to professionalism, knowledge, about people who are working in the industry. Another problem that we tend to have is that there's no regularization on the real estate field.
Yes, and we are.
The government had
looking forward
proposed
to
a white paper way back in 2016, which till today hasn't come to fruition. And I believe that when that is actually instilled within the real estate industry, it will instill that sense of trust, which today is lacking from both the buyer and the seller's end.
There'll be more
when
accountability.
they face us. Today there is no accountability from our end. There are no repercussions, both for the positive and the negative side we do. So when hopefully that comes to fruition, everybody's licensed, and everybody will feel that sense of trust and enjoy the whole experience provided by the agents, and the standard will automatically have to increase.
Okay. In fact, according to a recent survey commissioned, professionality is something that customers are they want. I mean, I think
are after value.
47% want professionally trained agents, and they're crying for it.
Yes, and I think if further to what you're saying, if I'm not mistaken, locally, the real estate market or the real estate industry only accounts to 50% that is sold by real estate companies.
I don't even we manage to
I
get
don't even
the
think we do
50%.
that, but
No.
whilst in North America or most of Europe, they are averaging something like 90% of all transactions. So there's a long way to go.
And there is a lot of opportunity.
Yes.
But we need that regularization to create that feel-good factor for anybody who wants to use our services.
What happens today, buyers are choosing their preferred agent.
Yeah.
They are choosing him. If everybody has an opportunity to sell and everybody has an opportunity to market any property, what is happening today, buyers who have been on the market for more than a month are getting this experience. They're meeting up with agents from all walks of life, from all sorts of agencies, and they are choosing. They are building a rapport, they are building a relationship with an agent who is guiding them through all this, and they demand feedback, they demand more value, they demand that the agent is very well informed, because let's face it, for everybody who's buying, they have a lifetime paying a mortgage. It's a lifetime investment buying a property.
The biggest investment you will ever do in your lifetime.
Yes, yes.
And you have to blindly trust somebody who you may not know has the necessary experience to guide you accordingly to the best of his abilities. And that is something that the industry hasn't protected the consumer.
Why would someone want to join the industry? who is maybe a salesperson out there, what are the perks? Why?
I would imagine that joining the industry allows you to operate your own business within a consolidated framework. Let's use Remax for an example. That if you come into a company that's got an initial setup, all you need to do is give it your best to ultimately excel and achieve the goals you wish to achieve yourself. We always joke that we provide you with a Ferrari, and now it's up to you to be able to drive it.
That's why we provide all the training and everything. But back to your question, why would somebody want to join? After all these years of experience, which is distilled in intuition, you can say it, many of those people from any walk of life, whether he's a professional, he's graduated, whether he's in the catering business, whether he's a salesman already, you get these people who are hungry to be better, who are passionate about what they do. And what happens in an employment, in a wage situation, is that you know exactly, in the beginning of the year, you know exactly how much you will earn at the end of the year. And you find people who are frustrated about that, who want to earn more, who don't want to be limited because, let's face it, good agents are dreamers. We are passionate about and we dream a lot. So what happens to us, the moment we are stuck in a bracket, somebody is not letting us evolve, we choose to do other things. And then where real estate starts to be tackled and where real estate starts to become an interest, because they say, where can I go to be able to grow?
How can I achieve that?
How can I achieve? It's not a question of finances alone. It's a question of personal success, how you will proceed in life, what your opportunities are, the time you want to work, how you want to work.
So you're saying
factors that allow you to give you your
someone
freedom.
joining the industry can grow personally as well?
Of course.
Most definitely.
Yes.
It gives
We
you
grow
all the
personally
foundations
day by day.
to be able to grow on a
And
daily
clients
basis
will
and
make you
improve.
grow because the better service you offer, people will recommend you. Our best business has always been recommendation. So the more of a good service you give, the more of people talking about you, and the more long term you work, the more people will come into your business.
Top performers have always thrived on reputation.
Yes,
It's what has kept people, like Gordon, for
Yes,
example, who's
yes.
been at it for 27 years,
It's how
at
you
the top
work
of his game.
that people will come back. If you don't work in the right manner, you don't give the right feedback, you're not professional enough, you're not serious about what you're not very well informed, your information needs to be...
You're your biggest demise.
Exactly.
Joe, so if I were to join your real estate firm, what would be the onboarding process?
Onboarding process, basically, I mean, I'd say that, I can speak about Remax where I've been, that we take training very, very seriously. It was one of our pillars of our success, where head office provides a 15-day induction, where any new agents that join us are given this induction. In parallel, we normally have the office managers that provide the day-to-day training to those new agents or associates that join us so that they can get a feel of how that office operates and how that office is run. After that, we don't just chuck our people into the field because obviously we believe on expertise, professionalism, and a strong knowledge of the industry. So more often than not is what we do is we grab a new associate and team him or buddy him up with a more seasoned agent.
You create
So
some
that
kind
we
of
create that
mentorship.
kind of feeling where he's out in the field and learning firsthand,
It's a slow release.
but yet has somebody who's guiding him. More than that, I know that we also provide training all throughout the year with different courses available from different people within the company. And something that's really put us at the forefront, though, I believe, is that the fact that Remax yearly brings in internationally acclaimed speakers who always tend to give us a bit of a broader knowledge and insight into the industry to what we obviously have locally. Why? Because they tend to train thousands of people all around the world in a totally different market to the way the Maltese system operates. So I believe we have the broadest knowledge when it comes
we
to
have
the
very
real
good
estate.
trainers.
And this is something
Both locally
unique
and
to,
internationally.
unique to Remax.
It is well, I can speak for Remax that I know it is unique to Remax. I haven't worked elsewhere, but what I can vouch for is the training provided.
Elsewhere, but the advantage of Remax is, apart from the very good trainers we have, the very good academies each franchise has, we also offer, which is what attracted me also when I decided on 2010 to get the plunge to finally come to an international brand, was the Remax University. So today our agents have this unlimited feed of all these international trainers where if you had to subscribe, it would cost you 20,000, 30,000 a year to be part of this group. Today, all these international trainers are available on demand via our Remax University, which is something online. We wish more of our agents use it because the amount of information they gather from it is...
And they have this at home as well?
Yes, they have it at home. It's available wherever they like, which is very good. I always believe in prepare to win or prepare to fail. After all what we've been through, all this learning curve of how to nurture our agents to be able to produce the best agents on the island, I really believe that training is essential. The variety of trainers is essential because when you have one trainer, people get bored of the same people. The variety of trainers, the variety of courses, and especially the manager has the opportunity to create customized courses, through Remax University, which are specifically tailored for the agent who has a special need, who has, at the moment, he needs more tactics on closing. At the moment, he needs better qualities on listing. We create courses specifically for every situation. Our agents pass like that. Our agents feel they're not a number anymore. They belong somewhere. They belong to an organization where the internal customer, our agent, is our, how do you say it, our best ambassador. In order to have our best ambassador, we need to invest in him, and we need to make sure that he feels part of this large family called Remax.
So you're saying the knowledge
is power.
The knowledge is distilled through the university and through our trainers to our people.
And that is a key factor to their success and our success.
It's a collection of beautiful minds.
So if basically you were looking to hire someone, what would you be looking for yourself?
That's a tricky question. Hiring has always been my passion because experience reflects in your intuition. So in the first 15 minutes of talking to someone, I can take a decision. Okay. Obviously, I have various mechanisms in place which I need to do, and most of this is done prior to the agent coming. But in the first 15 minutes of the interview, when the agent is on his best behavior, because you know what happens in an interview, somebody comes on his best behavior. But after all these years, when you speak to someone, the moment you see that huge ball of fire in him, that passion, that in Italian we call it voglia di vincere, the amount
will of success.
Exactly. That spark in him. Mm-hmm. And there you know, because how he's talking, how he's behaving to what we are discussing, that gives me the...
Was that 50%?
As Gordon said,
yes.
The biggest part is that sense of gut feeling that you get within the first 10 minutes. However, then I'm a firm believer. I would say that I have 3 pillars that I try to look at, which is goal-orientated, communication, and hardworking.
Yes, of course.
Without those 3, you need to have them. They are fundamental to our daily job. The pleasure of seeing somebody who joins, knowing where he wants to get to and how he wants to get to, being goal-orientated is great. The fact that he needs to communicate both with clients, being vendors and buyers, and to form part of a team, which is not always an easy part.
He has to be a team
and
player.
being hardworking means it would help you both work in a team, which the success of every office is based on the team that there is within that office, but yet also be able to work on his own. Because at the end of the day, what you do is what you're doing is for yourself. So the success and the hard work you need to do is for you as well. So unless you're prepared to give it that all, you need to remember our job is a roller coaster of emotions.
Yes, of course.
I mean, you have all the highs and all the lows that one can go through in a normal job in a year. We sometimes go through them in a day. I mean, you have all different kinds of feelings, all different kind of rush. I mean, in my opinion, there is nothing, no better feeling on closing a deal on a day with a client when you've got somebody there, when you're negotiating a property, and when you manage to find the right home for that client, and you see the happiness, their face lights up.
The feeling of the POS,
you know,
promise
you've
of
gone,
sale.
and you've gone to the promise of sale, it's gone smooth, you've planned everything, you've covered all the problems that may arise, and you see the happiness on that
the
person's
happiness
face.
in the eyes of the buyers and the sellers, that nothing beats it. The POS, the promise of sale, the enjoyment of when everything is done, because during the promise of sale, it might be slightly rocky, but when it's all over, and you see that everybody's relaxed and everybody's happy that this dream has happened, not the contract.
You fulfill dreams.
No, the contract's just a formality in reality. It's the promise of sale.
The enjoyment of the promise of sale, nothing beats that.
And what's a low?
A low is...
the biggest low probably
is... The biggest low, when you get these buyers who've been looking for ages. They've been running around. They have a dream, which it gets customized because you want a castle in the middle of nowhere with 300 trees. But when you start to customize your dream into what you really want, because you learn what you want, if you find a patient agent who is trained enough to be able to take care of your needs, the moment you find a property after showing one property to another, finally, you find the right one, you negotiate the price. One of my biggest disappointments is that when you get this couple which find it, they like it, they negotiate the price, they say, I want it. But can I bring my parents around? Can I bring somebody to give me advice? Can I bring a friend around? And they call you the night during these phone calls happen during the night. They say, Gordon, sorry, but we have decided to go slow, to think about it. My biggest disappointment happens 3 weeks later when they call. Well, you know what? Joe and I, or Mary and I, have decided that we're going for it because at the end of the day, we are buying. Not our parents, not our friends, we are buying. And happily, I called the owner. But when you call the owner, hello, listen, because that I sold it. That to me is the biggest bang you can have. You have to go back to the customer and inform him that unfortunately, after he decided to buy, the owner sold.
That's a huge disappointment, and obviously I would also add on, similar to what Gordon's saying, is that when you finally manage to secure a deal, no easy feat, and convincing both the buyer and the vendor to shake hands and agree on signing a promise of sale, and that sometimes even on the way to sign that promise of sale, one of the parties decides to pull out for no valid reason whatsoever.
Fear of change.
And just having to try and to explain to either party, because at the end of the day, as real estate companies, both parties are our clients, both the vendor and the buyer. To us, they are equally important. The fact that you have to break it to one party with no apparent reason whatsoever, that what they were about to go and sign is all of a sudden off the table. And as we mentioned before, it is probably the single biggest investment you do in a lifetime, and somebody on a whim has just decided to pull out. I think from our end it's disappointing, but just having to relay it is the worst part.
It's the worst part, seeing their faces and their reactions. Because people obviously put a lot of effort into it, they put a lot of thought into it, they put a lot of dreams into it. The one having to break it.
The agent works hard.
The agent works hard, the agent
High
doesn't obviously. The agent is obviously hit as well. But the agent knows that when it's not through his fault, when somebody backs off, he takes it badly, but not as much as the buyers. And even the owners, sometimes you get buyers who back off for various reasons.
I think these issues are universal. It's not only in Malta.
No, they are universal, definitely. But obviously, the way I think Malta works more on open listings as opposed to exclusive listings where owners are more committed into having to sell that property puts us in a more delicate or precarious situation to other situations. We've worked on both kinds of listings in Malta, and we obviously know that selling exclusives comes at sometimes a much easier option than selling an open listing.
Because there is more ownership.
There is a better rapport with the owner. It's very hard dealing with a database of 18,000 properties compared to 200 properties which are on an exclusive
Much more, man.
Exclusive listing, there is that rapport, there is that sense of confidence and trust between us, because the owner has entrusted his full responsibility to our company to sell that property.
So it's like a sole agency.
It's like a sole agency which is a bit given
where the company makes a huge
investment to market that property
market
for
and
the
sell.
owner.
He makes a commitment.
We take a commitment to get that property sold in the fastest time possible for that client.
We hear several stories of real estate agents not showing up for appointments, being unethical, not representing the customer in the right way. Is this the norm, or do we only hear negative stories?
Well, by human nature is so. So I believe that more often than not, we tend to hear the negative far more than the positive stories. That is just human nature, and that's the way it has always been. Like in every industry, there are people who tend to tarnish the good reputation of all the people who have worked so hard at building a successful name for themselves in that industry. Furthermore, what people I believe always tend to forget is that us estate agents are not remunerated on a salary basis. We are paid on commission. So we are paid only on the positive fruition of any transaction we do. So anybody who takes their job seriously would never ever...
Would always be on time. will provide the best information, will give a service. Because at the end of the day, if he goes late,
Or doesn't turn up.
over the years we created strict rules and regulations, where if some cowboy comes out of anywhere and does anything which we do not like, he gets fired on the spot. He sets an example for everyone. Luckily, after all these years in business, I had a couple of agents who turned late, but they...
Anyone who says they didn't would be lying, because
Of
we
course,
always
but
come
you
across...
excuse yourself because everything happens. You go back to your buyer, you go back to your owner, and you ask an apology.
But the norm is definitely not that. And obviously, when you keep in mind that Malta is a small island, we thrive on reputation. The most successful offices, companies, agents, all of them thrive on the word of mouth and referral system. So anybody who has done this for consecutive years or for a number of years is definitely not part of that notion where agents have provided a bad service.
And
Those
that's
are
why we're in
the
favor
minority.
of the licensing, we're in favor of all these things.
Anything that
Because
provides a safety net to the client or to the buyer or to the seller is a benefit to us people who take this industry extremely seriously.
If you were someone with exceptional sales skills, a track record in sales in a previous career, and you're looking for a career move, is real estate a career that you'd recommend, and why?
Real estate will always be a career for you if you are on a wage, if you are limited in some way, because people come to us. When you look at who is after becoming an estate agent, you'll find that in, for example, my team, I have a chemist, various graduated agents. I have people who only finished secondary education. They come from everywhere. But what brings them together is the passion to be better. What brings them together is being unlimited in the amount of satisfaction and gratification they can get, in the amount of finances, in the amount of money they can earn, and the amount of places in life they can reach through all the connections they would have created by joining the industry. What I say and what I speak to people, when I speak to people out there who are after changing, stop being left behind in life. Because it's very easy. Many people are very good at spending their time and watching others thrive and succeed, but they don't take the plunge.
They're
Those are
not
the
ready to
agents.
do anything about it themselves. And I know what Gordon means. What he means is as well, sales-driven people, I think, have been the foundations of the success in, say, anybody who's been in a sales job before and joined the real estate have always been at the forefront of the industry. They have been people who, as he mentioned, they are there for the gratification of the job. They are people who are happy to go to the extra mile to ensure that that sale or transaction is done.
They are
passionate
passionate of being better. They're passionate of seeing people happy. They are passionate of making it in life, of
the
succeeding.
perseverance that they have in order to make sure that somehow, at any cost, as long as they do their job correctly in a correct manner, they will be ready to do anything to make sure that the transaction is done.
Yes.
They are
people with a dream. They are people who want to achieve.
Proud-
they are people
proud
who
of what
want
they
to be
do.
better.
So you're saying if they succeed, the benefits are
Sky
sky
high.
high?
the sky's
we
the
need-
limit for people.
We need another 2 or 3 episodes to discuss the benefits, but everybody to his own, everybody with his own dreams. What we do is we meet people because there are a lot of perceptions. When you start, real estate was never considered a career way back. You become an estate agent because there was nothing else to do. That's what they used to tell us. But when they get into the job and when they see the amount of gratification, the amount of how do you say it, the amount of pleasure you get in seeing somebody really happy about finally buying his home, then they come to you and you will see, because many people have different ideas about real estate. But when they come and talk to us, Joe will tell you, when they come the interview and they discuss, do you see that there are many myths and there are
Yes,
many
they have this
strange
misconception and
ideas.
this notion that more often than not has nothing to do with the actual interview they
You
came
don't,
for.
no idea.
They come for an interview, they come to have a chat with you, and you realize that most people out there have no idea what it entails to do what we do on
Most
a
of
daily
them are worried
basis.
about the training. Is there training? How is it done? I don't know how to sell a property.
How do we
It's
work
our
out the
job.
taxes? How do we do this? Remember, we give a full service to our clients. We handle from A to Z. We guide them through the taxes that they need to pay, the fees that are
We
incurred.
believe knowledge equals confidence. The more knowledge they have, the more power
Definitely.
they have in
Our
their
clients
hands.
come and they give you that full sense of trust. People that return to us return basically because we give them that sense of easiness when you're
And
buying.
belonging.
When you're buying a
Because we make
property,
sure
there's a
about
lot of
Great.
sense of anxiety, and we try and make sure and instill that confidence for them by being so prepared and knowledgeable in what we're doing.
Buying property easy. That's the amount.
Thanks, guys.
Pleasure's
Closing
been
up
ours.
now.
That's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you,
All right.
Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate Conversation.